Hey, what's up? I got some more lore content for you guys. Alongside my recent 3 decks for beginners video, I also wanted to provide some more easy to craft decks for newer and intermediate players. I'll be covering each region one after another, that way you have a direction to go based on your favorite region. Hello, my name is Tempo and I've hit Master Tier every season since the beta, even peaking rank 1 multiple times on the North American ladder, and I will be your guide to Legends of Runeterra. So small disclaimer before I get into the first one, these decks won't be able to be crafted day 1. These are primarily meant as solid cores to go for after a few weeks of playing and understanding which regions or playstyles you enjoy the most. If you want the easiest and most budget decks to craft, I recommend checking out my 3 decks for beginners video from a few weeks ago. And now we're journeying up to the peak of Targon. And starting us off, we probably have the easiest one to craft, because it is a refined version of a tutorial deck that the game already gives you, and that is Zed Kayle. This deck wants to commit to an aggressive swarming playstyle, but it's quite different than the other decks I've covered. It's unique in the sense that it really cares about its power stat, because Kayle will level up depending on how many increased power allies have attacked. So starting us off, we have Divine Clerk, 1 mana 2/1, Empower 3. Empower is going to be a pretty common keyword that we're going to play around with a few of the cards. It says, gain this effect if we reach this certain power. So if the Divine Clerk goes up to 3 attack, it will also have Lifesteal. Next we have Solari Soldier, 1 mana 2/2, Daybreak, give me +1/+1 this round. Daybreak is you play it first in the round, and then it gets the bonus. So really good as just a 1 mana 3/3, super solid on attack turns, and also for defense turns. Next we have Sparring Student. This is going to be one of our very strong pressure tools in the early game. 1 mana 1/1. When you summon another ally, give me +1/+1 this round. So that's going to be basically like the main strategy is get down Sparring Student and also Greenglade Duo because they have this ramping effect. And then we're going to swarm our hand straight onto the board and give our allies ramping attack stats, giving us very aggressive pushes. Next we have Wuju Style. We're going to be using this card as an increase to the attack stat to help deal extra damage, trade over tanky units that are blocking us, and we're also going to be using the second part of the card to give protection to our allies to protect from removal spells. Next we have Celestial Blessing, kinda like the same thing. This is a 2 mana burst speed spell. Grant an ally in play and an ally in hand +1/+1, so we get to pick 2. 1 unit on the board is going to gain the +1, so we can use this for extra damage, again protection, and then we also get the +1/+1 on something that we want to play later. Next we have Grandfather Fae. This helps our swarming playstyle. He's a 2 mana 1/2. When I'm summoned, create a Hungry Owlcat in hand. Hungry Owlcat's a 1 mana 2/1 with Spell Shield. Also, he has a passive that says when you summon another Fae, grant it 1/0. So if the Grandfather Fae stays on the board and you play Hungry Owlcat, since it is a Fae, it will be a 1 mana 3/1 with Spell Shield, which is nice and aggressive. Next we have Greenglade Duo, 2 mana 2/1 Elusive. When you summon another ally, give me +1/+0 this round. Elusive is super nice, so it's going to be harder to block her. And if you set up like multiple Greenglade Duos and also a Sparring Student and then just drop your hand, you're going to be pushing a lot of damage. So Greenglade Duo is one of the cornerstones of the deck and one of the units that we want to protect at all costs. Next we have Keeper of the Masks. This is a good support card for our strategy because we want to go wide and play a bunch of dudes. Keeper of the Mask just gains so much value from us having a full board. It is a 2 mana 2/3 that says when I'm summoned, give other allies +1 attack this round. So that's super good when you are trying to set up big wide swings. Next we have Pale Cascade, 2 mana burst speed spell. Give an ally +1/+1, also Nightfall, draw 1. Nightfall is a bonus that you get if you do not play this card first in the round. So anytime after your first card, if you resolve Pale Cascade, you will gain the +1/+1, but also the draw 1 effect, which is super nice since we want to deal extra damage, we want to protect our units. Helping draw a card will keep us ahead. Next we have a really cool card. This is another like important one for the strategy. This is Navori Longtail, 3 mana 3/1. Play, summon a Navori Brigand, or give other allies +1/+1 this round. So if you need to go wide and you need to have more units on the board, like let's say you have extra space, you can play the extra Brigand as well. So this is a 2-for-1 deal. However, if you already have 5 units and you're going to overcap the board by playing the Longtail summon effect, you can just do the +1/+1, which is a really big boost. Having an extra +1 HP on top of attack on everything just goes such a long way, especially when you stack these. Like imagine playing Navori Longtail twice on the same turn, then all of a sudden your entire board is just so big, and it helps push so much extra damage, especially on your elusive units. So super good card. Speaking of elusive units, we have Winged Messenger here, 3 mana 2/4, Empower 3, gain elusive. So we want to get this unit up to 3 attack. Pretty easy to do when we have Celestial Blessing. It's going to be one of our targets in our hand that we want to hit with Blessing, so it comes down with elusive. Otherwise, we can buff it with like the Pale Cascade or the Keeper of the Masks, Wuju style, and it will gain elusive that way as well. That way we get more cheeky damage. Another really strong aspect of the Winged Messenger is just how much HP it has. 4 HP is a little hard to hit for most decks, so you're going to be able to get a lot of cheeky elusive damage through this card. And next we have Zed, which is one of the champions that comes with the deck. 3 mana 3/2 quick attack, also attack, summon an attacking living shadow with my stats. So any buffs that you give to Zed, you're also going to get an additional attacker that has the same stats. So this is really nice, like 2-for-1 deal on attack calls. What's super good about this is whenever Zed summons his shadow, that's also a summon effect for your Greenglade Duo and Sparring Student, so there's some more synergy there. And you basically just get to attack with a lot of pressure. Him having quick attack is super good for the strategy. If him and or his shadow hit the enemy nexus twice, then he also levels and just becomes more of a nuisance for the opponent, more stats are going in. Basically all he's doing is just pressuring. We're not trying to like win through Zed himself, we're just using him as a really nice aggressive unit that pushes our strategy forward. Next we have Kinku's Call, 4 mana slow speed spell, summon a Keeper of Masks now or at the next round start and draw one. So we know what Keeper of the Masks does, we do hard run it at 3, we're basically just going to have the ability to summon it right now and draw a card, or prep it for the next turn and then draw a card. What's really cool about prepping it for the next turn is that if you have 5 units on your board, you can do Kinku's Call, and then next turn you'll get the summon, and you'll get to open attack before the opponent can develop any blockers. So it basically just sets up for really strong open swings. And rounding us out, we have Kayle, who is our latest game card. Again, we are playing a very aggressive Swarm playstyle, so having a 5 cost as our highest card does make sense, and she's a very strong champion. She naturally gains 1 extra attack to her card for each time an ally attacks with increased power over the course of the game. So we're going to be doing that a lot. So she's going to come down with just like an insane amount of attack because we're ramping our attack stat like every time that we can. And also when she summons, she grants your board +1 attack permanently, which is super good, especially if you're playing right on attack turn 5. She comes down and then just gives your board like a lot of power. She has Empower 6, so she naturally gets up to 6 through her effect. She also has quick attack, making her harder to block. She levels up round start if she has 11 power, and then she becomes like Ascended Kayle, which is basically a win con. She gains Overwhelm, so now she does piercing damage with her like really big attack set. She has at least 11, so she's going to be a really big finisher card. Super bonus points if you can get her up to 16. If you can get her up to 16, then she also has double attack, striking twice, so she'll do double piercing damage and just win the game outright if she's left unchecked. Another little bonus side note that happens, it says right here, when I'm summoned or level up, grant allies +1/+1 permanently. So she's just really helping our board and our strategy. Kayle's just like really important and is like the glue that keeps this deck together. There are some possible cards to look at here. I do know that a lot of players are going to ask about Mahira, Aspect of the Justice. I think this card is a little bit too slow for our playstyle because this deck wants to play super fast and try to win on like turn 6. Mahira wants to be developed on 5, take a lot of your resources, and then give you value like 6, 7, 8, so it's just a bit too slow, so I would not run Mahira. A card that you could run though is actually Sign-In. I think you start with one of these, but if you want to craft like a second one and run double Sign-In, you can definitely do that because he supports our swarming playstyle and also draws 2 additional cards to keep your resources going in the mid game. So you could probably drop some numbers like maybe Kinku's Call to 2, you can maybe drop the Wuju style and just do triple Celestial Blessing, and then maybe like lower something, put Sign-In in, whatever you want to do. You can do all kinds of stuff with this, so would recommend checking that out if you do have the epics. I wanted to make sure that this one is like super budget friendly. It's the champions that you start off with, and mainly commons actually. There's only a couple of rares in here, so this might be the most budget deck of all the videos. But that is it for the deck rundown. Now here's a live commentary game so you can see how the deck plays out. I'll be giving context to why I'm playing certain cards, and hopefully it gives you a good feel on how to play the deck. And for this example game, we're fighting another Targon strategy with 3 different champions in there. We have Morgana, Varus, Pantheon, so they're going to be trying to set up a couple dudes, make them really big. And we're doing the opposite. We're playing a bunch of small dudes, but swarming as much as we can. So let's do Solari Soldier. I love that. I kind of wish I was attacking on 1 instead of blocking, but that's okay. Soldier, Grandfather, Keeper. I kind of want to mulligan away Keeper and draw into it later. It's one of our cards that's already... It's like better once we're already set up, you know? And we'll get rid of Blessing too. Nice. Double Grandfather Phase, really good. So we can play 1 on 2, 1 on 3. And then we can swarm the board with Owlcats. So I do want to play the Solari Soldier. And then we'll do first action attack with him on turn 2 before they can develop any blockers. So it's basically like 2 free damage. Send that out. Zed also changes things a little bit. We could develop Zed and play him instead over the grandfathers. If we do Zed on 3, we can do double Grandfather Fae on 4 and then worry about the Alcats later. I'm kind of down for that. That also lets us pass turn 2, so we have Celestial Blessing mana to protect him from certain things. That sounds pretty good, actually. Yeah, let's go ahead and pass. Zed top deck changed our plan ever so slightly. So we're going to play him, and then we can honestly open attack again. Shackles? That's fine. I'm glad that they shackled my Solari Soldier and not my Zed. So now I have to pay 2 mana to get my Soldier back. That's fine. Fine by me, bruh. Ooh, this is interesting. For 1 mana, can they do anything? They could run Momentous, right? Because of Varus region. So I don't want to play into it. I'm down to just pass then. Momentous doesn't cost 1 right away, does it? I forgot. Alright, so let's go ahead and do Zed attack. Yeah, I like Zed attack. I think that's just fine. Especially before they can shackle my Zed with Lisa and Dolly, like a second one from hand. Let's see what we got here. And then we're just going to set up the double grandfathers. That way our turn 6 is going to be insanely strong. Sunblessed. That's a good card. I'm kind of just down to do Celestial Blessing and keep Zed alive. And then also buff our Messenger since we top deck that. Okay, Zed will live with 1, so I'm pretty satisfied with this. We can still play out exactly how we want to. Hell, okay, never mind. They want to invest so much into this combat. So I do have to pay if I want to keep Zed alive, which I do. So we'll go ahead and do that. That was like a lot of mana from the opponent. Just for Zed to stay living through that. So it's going to be a little bit hard for them. Play the grandfather. Just play him out. Alright. Messenger. Long tail. Grandfather Messenger? I like that. Yeah. Varus. Varus is fine. Let's play another grandfather. And then we're going to play Winged Messenger this turn. I'm not unshackling because it's a waste of mana. I need to use my mana to develop my dudes. My dudes need to win me the game here soon. Attack 6 is going to be a pretty strong swing though.
There's a price to pay.
Varus attack. That is... Okay, we'll just take that. And play Messenger here. And then we play Alcat. That's a 4/1 Alcat, by the way. Really, really strong unit. Shield Bolts. Stun Zed. Sure. What's crazy about that is I'm actually fine just replacing Zed with Alcat. I do not care if he's stunned. I'm going to try to push so much damage this turn that I don't care about Zed, right? So we can just replace him, which looks a little psychotic, but hey, I think it's good. And then we can do Longtail and buff everything by +1/+1 by replacing the Solari Soldier. I like this route. Give all the allies 1/1. Takes away our shackles, and then we have just like a really strong board here. We're gonna full send it. Guiding Touch. And then send it. There we go. Now our Kayle is pumping, right? Because we attacked with a lot of increased power allies.
There is no forgiveness.
Value block there. Trade even there. Trade even there. Okay. Sure. Sounds good to me. My Alcat's put in some work. I really like double Kinku's Call. That feels kind of insane. Oh, there's Mommy Kayle. That's really good too.
The dead do not want us to mourn.
That Spell Shield Varus. I mean, sure thing, I guess. Let's do Summon a Keeper, next round start, draw 1. I think it's actually better than playing Kayle. I think Kayle dies way too easily to a strike spell. I'd rather just Swarm. Be annoying here. And we can play her next turn in case something bad happens. Like, let's say our Winged Messenger is striked. Then we can play Kayle next turn.
Tell me,
Okay, Blind and Mystic. Cool. It's a good card as well. Look at this setup, though. 8 mana for double Keeper the Mask next turn. I like it. It does sound pretty good. What you gonna do now? Just attack with Varus? No, you're full sending it. Holy. Okay, that's pretty insane. This gives you back a Guiding Touch, so I don't want to kill that thing. Let's go ahead and do 3-1, 3-3. We can do 2-4, 3-2. Yeah, so next turn we're gonna have the double Keeper. We can also play Kayle plus another Keeper, and we're good. So we are going to develop next turn. Another Guiding Touch on the Scholar.
Beware those who have nothing to lose.
I don't think I mind that too much. I'm not dying, right? Nah, I live with 3. All good. That's all that really mattered, is if I died there or not. Now let's see if they can keep up with my Swarm this turn. Keeper, Keeper. Then we can also do Gringlade Duo, Kayle. Kayle's so nice, actually. I think I do want to set up the Gringlade Duo first, though.
Hang on, Buzzball.
Hey,
Like, we're just so wide. I love it. Surveyor? Yeah. Sounds good. For damage optimization, I can also play the Divine Clerk and then replace him with Kayle so that Gringlade Duo gets an additional +1. I guess we don't really mind just replacing our units in this deck, since we have so many. Oh, you know what they're going to do, though? They're going to turn off my Elusive. That's what I just realized. That's what they got from the Surveyor. That's pretty annoying. Winged Messenger? And then we can replace the Gringlade Duo with Keeper. I mean, I guess that's also an alternative route. Not that great, though.
We have gone long without justice, but keep hope alive.
I'm just gonna do this. Play the Divine Clerk for +1, and then Kayle to replace him. Alright, let's go... Actually, I kind of like replacing the 2-3 better. That way I get the lifesteal. Yeah.
Mine is a solemn duty.
Let's go, Kayle! Look how big this board is. We can definitely make 8 damage, right? Quick attack unit first. We can do lifesteal.
They'll never see
And then the attack order probably doesn't matter after that. That's a 13 attack Kayle. She's probably going to get blocked by the Scholar. No? Yes, there you go. And then 2-2, maybe like 3-1, I don't know. And then Varus to one of the 5 attack units. That is a lot of damage they have to mitigate, though. I'm not so sure they can do all that with just these 2 units, even with the lifesteal taken into account. Okay, well now they probably can.
I know what we
Additional healing? Nope. Nopers. Still dead.
stand against us.
Nice. Exact lethal. Hey, yo.
I know what we are. Don't stand against us.
Nope. They're trying like any possible block combo with lifesteal living. Does not look like it's possible. They're trying everything though. It's a puzzle and they are trying to solve it. It's definitely not take something away from Kayle. It doesn't seem like there's an out, so nice. Got him. They had a lot going for them too. And the next deck I have for you is another Kayle deck, but this one is featuring Bard. Bard's really cool because he offers a lot of extra stats through the chime mechanics that is part of his kit. There's a little bit more of a reliance on winning through Winged Messenger, Bard himself, and Kayle with this deck as compared to the last one, which is okay winning through just attacking with a bunch of dudes. So in this deck we have Bird the Bellringer, 1 mana 2/1. When I'm summoned, plant a chime on top of your deck. So when you draw the next card, a random ally in hand is going to gain +1/+1. Basically the Celestial Blessing effect that we love. Ideally we hit the Winged Messenger with it, we can hit Bard, we can hit Kayle, you know, all kinds of good stuff. And then the extra stat helps level Kayle whenever you attack with it. So honestly, just like really good innate synergy. Next we have Divine Clerk coming in again with the Empower Lifesteal, super good against aggro. Next we have Celestial Blessing, again, 2 mana burst speed spell, grant an ally in play and an ally in hand +1/+1, so super nice. So it's cool because there's a lot of carryover between the last deck and this one, so if you have a hard time playing one of them, definitely give the other one a shot. Next we have Esmis. This is a really cool card. This is a Chime Synergy card, 2 mana 0/2, elusive. When I'm summoned, plant a Chime on the top card of your deck. Also support, grant my supported ally +1/+1. So support just means you attack with Esmis first, the next thing that's attacking to the right will gain the bonus, and there's tons of good hits, and it's also putting a Chime on top of your deck, so honestly, really, really solid. Next we have Triple Pale Cascade, 2 mana burst speed spell, give an ally +1/+1 this round, Nightfall, draw 1. Just like the last deck, really good for stats, really good for drawing and cycling, finding more resources. Next we have a weapon here. This one isn't epic, so this is going to be a little bit costly, you know, compared to the last one. This is a 2 mana equipment, +1/+1 on your ally. Support, grant my supported ally +1/+1. So it has the same effect as Esmis. So you give something 1/1, and then when you attack, you basically do the support effect, and then the supported ally will also gain 1/1. So that's really cool. So what's really strong about this card is you can also play it as a unit in the late game. You may spend 8 mana to play me as Harazi. Harazi is an 8 mana 7/7 that has Spell Shield. It says support, grow my supported ally stats to mine, give it my positive keywords this round. So like let's say you attack on turn 8 and the opponent has only 7 HP remaining. There's something really cool you can do by putting Harazi down and having an elusive on the board, like Messenger or Esmis, because you attack with the Harazi and it will pull the supported ally straight up to 7 attack with Spell Shield, as long as Harazi still has the Spell Shield. So that's really, really good. You can get a lot of cheesy lethals with this card. So yeah, it's a pretty high investment. If you only have a couple epics, you could probably craft 2 of it and be pretty happy. Maybe even 1. But yeah, I would recommend it because it's really good for this deck. We care a lot about the extra stats here. Next we have Eula, 3 mana 3/3, play, grant an ally Spell Shield or Overwhelm. If you don't, grant it to me instead. This is really nice because you can set up like Kayle on defense 5 and then do first action Eula, give Kayle Spell Shield. That way you can make Kayle a more reliable win con in this deck. You basically want to play around her and use her to finish out a lot of your games. So that's just honestly really solid. You can give other things Overwhelm too, in case you get like a really big Chime unit. Just having the extra like utility from Spell Shield and also aggressive utility from Overwhelm, being able to do the piercing damage, just goes a long way. So really solid card. Next we have Wandering Shepherd. This is really cool. It's a 3 mana 2/1, play. Pick an ally, it improvises. If you don't, I improvise. Improvise shows you 2 weapons from a pool, and then you get to pick one. The weapons have increased stats, so that's really good Kayle synergy. You can put this on like the Winged Messenger, and then it will have like maybe Scout and then Elusive, and you can get some cheesy damage that way. So honestly, just a really strong card. For the most part, you want to improvise something else, not himself. That way you can just spread extra keywords and extra damage where you can. Next we have Winged Messenger. Just like the last deck, we want to get this thing empowered, so any amount of stat buffs on it, you can hit it with a Chime, you can hit it with a weapon, and then it will gain elusive and be a really strong pressure tool for you. And next we have Bard. So Bard's doing a few cool things. Since he's a Runeterran champion, he allows us to break the region cap and we can play cards from outside of region. His is you can put any cards that have chimes into the deck. So for example, we're running a Bandle City card, even though we're running Targon and Bard as the 2 regions. So we get to bypass that and run Bandle too. So that's really cool. That's a really like just neat fact about Runeterran champs. They oftentimes let you pull like cards from a bunch of different regions together. He also has another effect that says round start, if you have 3 mana gems, so on turn 3, plant a chime in your deck for each bard that started the game in your deck. So that's really nice. You get to basically start turn 3 onwards with 3 additional chimes. That way Bard can give you some more value. Just really good for the mid game. On attack, he also plants 3 more chimes in your deck. So when you pull them, you get more +1/+1 in hand. Really good. Level up, you've increased the total stats of allies in play or in hand by 20 total. This should be relatively easy to do, especially when you play Kayle. She bumps herself up like, I don't know, a ton based on how many allies you've attacked with that have increased power. So Bard should level like in the mid game pretty reliably, and then he starts buffing allies in play on top of the allies in hand getting buffs. So you just start getting +1/+1s everywhere. He becomes Oprah Bard. You get a +1/+1, you get a +1/+1. That's basically all he does. He's just a stat generator. Next we have the Expanse's Protections, a 4 mana burst speed spell, but if you've equipped an ally this game, it costs 2 less. So as soon as you equip something with the Darkened Lodestone, or Wandering Shepherd on something, then this costs 2 mana. And that's really good because it says, give an ally Spell Shield this round. 2 mana Spell Shield is a very, very powerful effect. Its best use case is if like your Kayle is getting Vengeanced or something, you know, like a really big committal, high mana spell, and then you just protect your Kayle. And then the opponent just loses from that position. It's really, really good. So since we have weapons in this deck, we are also running Spell Shield for extra protection and keep Kayle nice and safe. Next we have Cosmic Binding. This is a 5 mana fast speed spell. It says deal 2 damage to an enemy and stun another. So we get to execute something that has 2 or less HP, stun something else, basically stall the game a little bit, slow down the opponent's strategy, and then we also get 6 chimes in deck, so we can continue getting stat buffs. And next we have Kayle, just like in the last deck. She's going to be increasing her power and then becoming an Overwhelm win con for us. And ideally, we also have Spell Shield to protect her. And finally, to round it out, we have Sunburst, 5 mana slow speed spell, deal 6 to a unit, also Daybreak if it's the first card that you're playing, silence the enemy, and then deal 6. That way, if the opponent tries to buff it and get it outside of the 6 damage threshold, it's not going to matter. It'll get silenced first, and then it takes the 6. So basically, it just makes it a lot more consistent. It just makes Sunburst a really strong card if you Daybreak it. And that's it for the deck rundown. Now here's a live commentary game so you can see how it plays out. And for the example game, we're fighting a very strong meta deck, Shyvana Elder Dragon. If we can win this matchup, then this is just the best deck in the game. That's all there is to it. Let's go ahead and keep One Wing Messenger. We definitely don't need to see a 3 of. They're pretty good for poker, but not so good for lore. I want One Wing Messenger so we can develop it and make it an elusive attacker. And we want Eula later to give Spell Shield to like Kayle when she's already down, so don't want any of that. This is nice though, I like this, especially attacking on evens. This means we can do Divine Clerk early, we can do Messenger on defense 3, and then buff it on 4, and then have protection mana too. So honestly, this is a very solid hand. I like this a lot. I like this a lot. We're going to probably open attack here, right? Yes. And we have Sunburst for Shyvana. Floating 2 is pretty common in this deck because we have Pale Cascade, we have the 2-drop weapon. So just having 2 mana in our pocket here is very nice. Blocking Badger Bear. So they have an elusive blocker. Of course they do. Why wouldn't they? Go and play the Winged Messenger. Yeah. I am not surprised that they run blocking Badger Bear in this deck. Dismiss? No, we're doing the Shepherd for sure. Oh, fix him up. Yeah, block this Badger Bear, huh? And then we have the 2 mana Spell Shield, so that's super nice. We can't even get single combated or anything. Pioneer! Okay, so they're gonna also turn off elusive. Wow! They're playing very, like, anti-our strategy, unfortunately. Oh. But we did get 4 damage, so I guess that's pretty satisfying. And then what's... Oh, they could also destroy our weapon. That could be Malfunction, too. If Malfunction, I guess I could do Spell Shield and just keep the weapon. It's not a bad idea. And then whatever they play on turn 5, I Sunburst, right? Whether it's Shyvana or Screeching Dragon. Okay, pass. Yeah, I'm down to pass 2. I don't know why they'd burn 1 mana. If they have the weapon destruction, they should have just used it. So go ahead and play Screeching or Shyvana. Lieutenant. That's fine. I don't think I have to do anything into that. Allegiant, that's also fine. Do not care that much about that either. So now what? I'm just curious.
Prepare for battle.
Attack 3-2.
Take Demacian steel.
Yeah. What are you grabbing with that? Just out of curiosity. Nothing. You choose not to grab.
Hey, stop that.
I kind of want to do this. And then when they do... Oh, what? I thought they were going to do Form Up or something. I was going to do Cosmic Binding. Huh. Huh. Okay, alright, alright.
We tend the fire and hope.
That was interesting. I'm not sure why that happened. And they're like refusing... I don't know what's going on. This is a bit weird to me. Alright. Definitely just an eensy bit confused. Go ahead and do this. We're still on 7 mana, so we can do Protection and Sunburst. Fire Spitter top deck makes sense. Targeting Winged Messenger. That is fine. We protect. We can also do a Heal 2 stun as a response. That way we get a pretty strong elusive attack in now. So let's do Esmus, buff Esmus, buff 4-2, and then also send this thing for fun. Actually, sending this thing for fun is not a good idea because of the 9-5. I'm down to just send in all of my elusive damage. Bonk, bonk, bonk. They go to 7. Huh, that was pretty nifty. Oh, now you want to turn off the elusive. You know, it's like 2 turns too late for all that. Wait, I had Spell Shield on, didn't I? Wait, what? Wait, what just happened? Why didn't my elusive turn off? Oh, because it stays empowered. It's like an aura, so silencing Winged Messenger isn't even good. Oh. You know what? I didn't even think about that, to be honest. Let's deal 2 stun. That way we can kill the elusive blocker, we can stun the Jarvan, keep our elusive alive. And then go next turn. I can even play Harazi here. Play Harazi. Then Harazi can pull up the Esmus to a 7 attack elusive unit. Huh. That's so funny that silence just does nothing to Winged Messenger. Well, it's not technically silence. I'm calling it that, but that's not true. It's disable enemy keywords. Heal? Alright, you better also be on a single combat then. Nice. Let's go! Big elusive swing. And the final deck I have for you is Sunburn, utilizing Leona as a very powerful Targon identity. Daybreak has been in the game for quite some time, so I thought it was only appropriate to make sure I have a Daybreak deck. This deck is on the cheaper side as well, since Leona is the only required champion, so that's really cool. You can also run Darius if you want, since you get him for free and he's a pretty decent finisher, but that's completely up to you. This deck is pretty heavy on the epic side if you want to play the full refined version though. There are a couple epics to consider outside of this list. I wanted to make sure this one's super budget, so it's only commons and rares. The only epic that's required is Sun Guardian. So he's in here at 3 of, and that's going to be a little bit more costly. But some more epics to consider is Crimson Pigeon over Legion Saboteur, so write that down. And also the... where are you at? Where are you at? Fire Spitter. I know you're under somewhere. Enraged Fire Spitter as well. So that's 6 more epics if you do have those. You can probably trim down the Sunburst. And let's see. And the Heavens Aligned to run triple Fire Spitter. So that's what I would recommend in case you do have the extra epics to run the fully refined version. But for now, we have the super budget version, which is just 3 champions and 3 epics. The rest are commons and rares. This deck wants to build its board up, but also play pretty aggressively, attacking a lot and using its increased stats to deal chip damage at the opponent, and then set up for like really big stun turns where you get direct damage lethals through Might and Noxian Fervor. So starting us off, we have Heavens Aligned. If we Daybreak Heavens Aligned, we create a random Nightfall card in hand, allowing us to get more resources. If we Nightfall the Heavens Aligned, we get a Daybreak card in hand, allowing us to have pretty consistent Daybreak turns. Next we have Legion Saboteur, who's a 1 mana 2/1 attack, deal 1 to the enemy nexus. Since we are playing an aggressive playstyle, Legion Saboteur comes in as a very strong 1-drop. Again, you want to replace this with Crimson Pigeon if you have the epics to upgrade. Next we have Solari Soldier, 1 mana 2/2, Daybreak, give me 1/1. Daybreak obviously is going to be the key component of our strategy because we want to Daybreak 5 separate times so we can level Leona and then use her for stuns and attacking later on. So having multiple Daybreaks is going to be super important for us. Next we have Pale Cascade, which is a Nightfall card that draws us a card. We're basically just using this as a combat trick, using it to beat over things, protect our units, while also drawing a card. It has natural synergy because we play Daybreak units, so like Nightfall, Pale Cascade just kind of makes sense too. Next we have Solari Shieldbearer, 2 mana 3/2, Daybreak, give me 0/4 this round. This is a really big unit, a 2 mana 3/6? This is just like really strong right on turn 2, so we want to get down the Shield Bearer, then use it to attack or block accordingly. Next we have Solari Sunhawk, which is a stun card. This is going to be very good for us. 2 mana 2/3, Daybreak, stun the strongest enemy. Sunhawk is really good in the early game at just getting in some cheap damage, but it's really strong later in conjunction with Leona level 2, because then you're going to stun multiple times on the same action, which is super sick because that's what Leona 2 does. She also stuns, just like Sunhawk, so really strong to pair into the mid game. Next we have Twilight Protector, 2 mana 2/2, Daybreak, give Daybreak allies +1/+1 this round. So he's actually really good if you play on like turn 4 or turn 6, where you have a bunch of Daybreak stuff already set up, like a bunch of dudes down, and then you do Twilight Protector to just give everything a +1/+1, and you get really nice swings that way. If you Nightfall him, it grants Nightfall allies +1/+0 permanently, which includes himself and other Twilight Protectors you have, so it's not terrible to Nightfall, but definitely better to Daybreak. Next we have Triple Might. We're going to be using this on Leona or Ravun as a finisher card. Bonus points if we get the Enraged Fire Spitter into this deck, then Might has another very good target. Next we have Noxian Fervor. We're going to be using this as a finisher card. If the opponent is down to 3 or less HP and we have a tanky unit that we can use to sack Fervor on, boom, we can go ahead and do that and finish out the game. Next we have Double Solari Priestess, 3 mana 2/2, Daybreak, invoke a celestial card that costs exactly 4, 5, or 6. There's a lot of good options to choose from. The one that I like the most is actually a Champion Tutor. It says like, I think it's 4 mana, draw a champion from deck and give it +2/+2 and reduce its cost as well. So that's really nice to just give yourself like a champion synergy card. If you're only running Leona, this is better. If you have Darius in here, then you're going to have, you know, a chance of drawing Darius. But in the matches that you really need Leona, it's super clutch to draw straight into her or have multiple Leonas in case the first one dies. Then you can tutor a second one to your hand, and it's just really good consistency card. There's other really strong Celestials that you can invoke as well. Good units, good spells, single target removal, all kinds of good stuff, so I like her a lot. Next we have Sun Guardian. This is one of the cornerstones of the deck, what we want to be playing around and utilizing. It's also a very good Might target if it gets super big. It's a 3 mana 2/3, Daybreak, or when you activate another Daybreak, grant me 1/1 permanently, so it keeps ramping up. So it's going to come down as a 3 mana 3/4. Then if you play another Daybreak, it's going to be a 4/5, and that keeps ramping. So you're just going to get like a really big Sun Guardian, especially if you're on multiple of them. That's kind of how you win a lot of your games. Set up Sun Guardian on 3, another one on 4, and then you can play like Ravun on 5, Leona 6, or vice versa, you know, however your Daybreak has been going. And you can kind of win like that, and then just win on like 6, 7. So really good. Next we have Leona. She has Challenger innately, which is nice. She's a 5/3/5. On Daybreak, stun the strongest enemy, just like Solari Sunhawk. And then level up, you've activated Daybreak 5 unique times over the course of the game, and now she has a really strong effect that says Daybreak, or whenever you activate another Daybreak, stun the strongest enemy and give me Barrier, which just makes her a really good card, and you get to stun additionally, like on top of your other Daybreak stuff. That's super good. Her spell's also really broken too. I recommend reading that and using that sometimes as well. So Leona's super sick when she has Ravun on the board. Ravun is a 5/5/5 that says Daybreak, create a random Daybreak card in hand. That's nice, we get an extra Daybreak card, but what's broken about him is actually the second sentence. It's always day for us, meaning we can start proccing Daybreak multiple times a turn. So if we have Ravun and Leona, then you have a really disgusting combo on the board because you play Sunhawk, that's double stun, it's still day, now you play Solari Shieldbearer, and Leona will proc her level 2 effect again, stunning something else. So now you have 3 enemy units stunned, then like let's say you play Twilight Protector, that's going to be Daybreak, give all your dudes +1/+1, and another stun for Leona, and you can kind of see how this gets out of control. If the opponent has 6 dudes on the board, it's not hard for us to stun all 6 of them and then just win with like a really big swing. It's pretty disgusting. If you get the Leona Ravun lockdown, it's really hard for the opponent to play the game. Next we have Sunburst, 5 mana, slow speed spell, deal 6, Daybreak, silence it. We're going to be wanting the Daybreak even more than the previous deck that we covered. It's just a really good single target removal card, basically the best that Targon has, because it just hits so many things and it silences them first. So that's super good. Just take away any buffs that it has. And that's it for the deck rundown. Now here's a live commentary game so you can see how it plays out. And for this example game, we're going to be fighting against Scouts. So this would be a pretty interesting matchup. I definitely want to keep a Leona. I don't think I need 2. And Shield Bearer on turn 2 is nice. So let's go ahead and mulligan away 1 Leona and 1 Noxian Fervor. I don't think we need 2 Leona. It's like a little bit extra, and my hand doesn't look that great if I keep it. And the Noxian Fervor, we want to draw into later. That's a finisher card, so we don't want it early. Sunburst is actually good. This may look weird, but this is actually better. I love double Sunburst into MF Quinn, because they're very champion reliant. I'm also down to play Heaven's Align right on turn 1, so I can get a Daybreak for Leona going here. Daybreak. And we get a pretty strong Nightfall card too. 4/3, overwhelm, Nightfall, stun an enemy. If it's a follower, stun it again. That's super good in the Scouts, actually. Wait a minute. That's like perfect. And then we'll play Shield Bearer on 2. That's 2 Daybreak so far. We have another one in hand. Broadwing, that's nice. I don't think I care about Broadwing. Bonk. Round 3. Okay, we got our extra Leona. That's cool.
No praise, no pay.
I think I want to Sunhawk and then float 1, go into turn 4 and Sunburst that Misfortune. I'm kind of down for that. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. It gets to live.
Love ya.
And then we have Leona leveled right on turn 5, which is going to be really nice. So we have 1 Sunburst for MF, and we have another Sunburst for Quinn. Which is kind of funny. Here we go. Go ahead and remove that. Goodbye, Misfortune. It was nice knowing you. And even if they tried to buff it with Form Up, doesn't matter. It would get silenced. For the tracker. I'm down to just, like, keep this up. I don't want to attack with Shield Bearer. This is fine. We can use it as a blocker. Hopefully we top deck Raboon very soon. It's gonna be nice. But yeah, I want to play Leona here, right? Quinn? Do I want to stun Quinn instead of playing Sunburst? Or do I want Sunburst now? I think I want to just play the Leona and stun the Quinn. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
The dawn has arrived. I am the bulwark against darkness.
Wow, such a pretty skin too. Oh, we don't even stun the Quinn. We stun the Badger Bear. There's no way they attack with Quinn. Into Leona? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. 1 mana? What is this? Wait, they have a 1 mana something. Are they running catch? Yo? Is that a sneaky catch I just caught there? Scout attack. Prize fight? They run prize fight in Scouts? Wait, that's like really weird. I can't even imagine what that would be for. An ally and an enemy strike each other. They can't drop below 1. That is an obscenely weird card for me. I'm a little awestruck by that. I guess they're cooking. I don't know. That is weird. All good, I guess. Huh. Alright. There's Raboon. Hello, sir. How are you doing? How are you doing? I think it's probably best to just Sunburst the Quinn, though. And then we'll set up later on. We'll have so much mana. We can just set up Leona on defense turn and then Raboon. Let's play Sabo, yeah. Getting Sabo down as well. Pretty nice. Good attack with her. Crackshot Corsair and Scouts, too? That's a pretty weird list.
Everything's in play behind ya.
It's pretty weird, just in general. I hope they don't have champion strength in their hand. Actually kind of problematic. But yeah, let's swing. That unit was going to grab us anyway, so all we did was get an extra +1 to face, which could be relevant, so happy about that. Now what? We've shot both of their champions that they opened in their top 10. Yeah, okay. It's probably straight up Gonna be champion strength and then it's doomed.
First light of
Leona.
the land.
That's a stun.
Sunlight blinds.
Don't have champion strength. Don't do it to me. No, no, don't do it. They still have 9 mana. Don't you champion strength me. Don't you have both champions and champion strength into... Okay. Whew. We're good. Alright. Ravoon time. Time to see how balanced this is. Ready? Ravoon. That's a stun. Then we play Sunhawk. That's 2 more stuns. Then we play Solari Soldier. That's another stun.
Glorious light rains down.
All good. All good. Stun. Sunhawk. Double stun. What are you doing? Whoa, whoa, whoa! Prize fight, make it rain. Alright, they're getting mad. They're getting mad at me. They're on double prize fight and a random make it rain too. So there goes the Ravun. Sad. Alright, so no more stuns for me. That's all I get. Pretty good though, honestly. I'm pretty good stuns. I guess I could just play out Solari Soldier as a 2/2, that way I have an additional blocker. I'm going to kill that Broadwing with the Leona and send both of these. They have 1 card in hand. Literally 1 card. They're hard running multiple prize fights. Cataclysm. Wow. I mean, I'm just so weirded out by this scout list. I've never seen these cards be played. That's crazy. Okay. I mean, I can see this synergy with Cataclysm for scout attacking. It's just weird. Open attack Andy. Let's go ahead and give you my 2/2. You can have that. All good. Then I'm going to Daybreak the Sun Guardian. Yep. And then I want to play the Club and Way and stun something. Probably the 3/1's fine. Cool card that we got. I'll take it. Broadwing? Sure. I mean, we're just like a little bit ahead. Just a tiny bit. I definitely want to do Zenith Blade on something, right? Zenith Blade on the Solari Sunhawk. And then Might on the Sun Guardian. Ooh, or we can invoke a card. That's actually better. Let's invoke the Warrior or the Traveler. What do y'all?
Sunlight guide you, my brethren.
Warrior's really good here, actually. Warrior. And then we do 5/5/1/1, send in everything else. And see if we can win through Mights. Which we might be able to. Get it? Get it? Might be able to win through Might. Nice. Looks good. Is that it? Is that all she wrote? Let's go! The double Sunburst killing the champions. I don't know. I got so confused by those prize fights, though. And that's it for Targon. Extra shout out to the patrons on screen. Much love and thank you for supporting. So for some closing thoughts, the game starts you off with like 2 Targon champs. Kayle, who honestly isn't the strongest one, and A Soul, which I already covered a deck for in the Demacia video, but I think I did pretty well with what I had. Having Leona as a standalone champion helps budget players get into the game as well, so shout out to Sunburn. She's also great for returning players that have the previous starter decks, since they came with Leona. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a sub if you're new, and also a like for the algorithm. That way other new players can see this video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one. Laters.